Michael will be a special contributor to the NBA on NBC. I'm going to be tuning in. I want to hear what Michael Jordan has to say. You move the needle for me. Michael's one of those rare people that could criticize players and they would say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
Hell yes, this is a conspiracy theory. Hell yes, this is a load of crap.
And now, a man who's hailed as our greatest American hero, Ricky Cobb.
Oh yeah, and welcome, you sweet bastards. It's a Tuesday morning in Chicago. I'm Ricky Cobb. Michael Jordan's 62 years old, something like that. We're never going to be able to see him play again. But the next best thing is happening, perhaps, because NBC has signed Michael Jordan to be a part of its NBA coverage next season, announcing that Michael will be a special contributor to the NBA on NBC. They're bringing back John Tesh with the round ball rock. They're using an AI version of Jim Fagan, who was the narrator, who would talk about the week's matchups and everything over that music. They are obviously trying to do a throwback aesthetic to get us back into the mindset that we had back in those glory years of the NBA. Can Michael Jordan be a difference maker for viewership? I'm going to be tuning in. I want to hear what Michael Jordan has to say. You move the needle for me as a lapsed NBA fan. If this is what NBC is trying to do, it worked because you've hooked me. I'm going to tune in and I want to hear what Michael Jordan has to say. Now, what kind of Michael Jordan are we going to get? Are we going to get the shoot from the hip Michael Jordan from his Hall of Fame induction speech? If we get that guy, it's going to be must-see TV every time that he's on the air. Or are we going to get the Republicans buy sneakers too, Michael Jordan, who spent most of his career deflecting away from any kind of strong opinion on anything other than the Chicago Bulls? If we get that guy, I think we're going to lose interest pretty quickly. Because at the end of the day, the product on the court is still the problem with the NBA. Can Michael Jordan bring some people in? I think that he can. How long are we going to stick around through the three-point Pop-A-Shot contest? Can Michael retain our interest? And is he going to be willing to go after people if necessary? Is he going to be willing to criticize people? Because Michael has a pretty thin skin himself. We know that his relationship with Charles Barkley talks still today openly about how much he loves Michael Jordan, how close they were. And that relationship deteriorated and fell apart because Charles went on the air and he criticized Michael's moves as the owner of the Charlotte franchise. And Michael did not like that. As the old meme goes, Michael took that personally. End of friendship with a guy who not only was one of his best friends, but also one of his most elite competitors throughout his career. We'll see. I'm interested, at least. I've got an open mind about it, Ronnie. What do you think? Do you expect Michael to be good, actually, in this role? Or are we going to watch him a time or two and say, okay, well, he's a big name, but this ain't really great television?
Yeah, man, I unfortunately think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to tune in and we're going to go, this isn't really interesting. Unless he does, he kind of takes the formula, the blueprint of inside the NBA. Shaq, Kenny, Charles are all authentically themselves. I feel like when I watch those guys, I am watching the exact version of them that I would see if they were talking to each other without the cameras on. And that's what I would need from Jordan. I want to see the Jordan that's not trying to impress producers and presidents of NBC and try to be corporate and buttoned up. I just want to see authentic Michael Jordan. If I see authentic Michael Jordan, I think there's a chance that it will be good. But I just think most people default into trying to be what they think they're supposed to be. And that's kind of my take on it.
I don't know if Michael cares about that. I just don't know if he has the appetite to stir the pot. I mean, he's got more money. Clay talks about fuck you money
Right.
Remember Clay talking about Mark Cuban and saying Mark Cuban has fuck you money.
Yep.
Why wouldn't he just say directly, speak truth to power?
Right.
And Michael has fuck you money. Michael is supremely popular. Michael's one of those rare people that could criticize players and they would say, thank you, sir. May I have another? Who better to ask about Michael Jordan than the Jordan Stopper? That's right. I'm talking about the pride of the Hoosier state of Indiana. He is also the host of Don't At Me on the OutKick platform every weekday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I speak, of course, of the great Dan Dakich. Dan, how you doing, man?
I saw you at Lollapalooza and you sucked. That's the line of the day right there, baby. Hey, I saw you in the old Chicago Stadium and you blew, by the way. Get out of here. I'm all in on
Fucking
that action.
terrible.
I'm doing great, Ricky.
Terrible.
All
right, man. A guy that used to do some fine work at the Chicago Stadium is now going to be an announcer. Look, you know MJ. You followed MJ's entire career. I mean, shit, you shut the man down, Dan Dakich. What do you think of this? Is he going to move the needle for NBC here? Will he be better than Tom Brady was? What do you think?
Well, he's not going to be in the same position. Brady, as an analyst, was there every week. I don't know what Jordan's actual job is going to be, and that's, I think, the interesting thing. He's going to be, not a consultant. He's going to be on air, roving correspondent. I really don't know. But I will say this, if he tears back the curtain a little bit on rivalries, preparation, how he went about his job, had a little fun with it, maybe, even threw in some gambling picks, something like that, I think he could be great. He's got a fantastic personality. He's a really smart guy. But if it's same old, statistics, a lot of former players like to use the crutch of statistics or, when I played, he can't do it that way. He's got to do it in a conversational way. He'll be terrific. But when I saw this, I thought, great move, NBC. Now, let me know what he's going to be doing because I'll watch. I'll watch at least initially for damn sure.
Well, same here. I'm excited for the rollout to see if he's willing to be pointed. Do you think at this point in his life he's going to be willing to criticize? I mean, famously, as you know, his relationship with your buddy Charles Barkley fell apart because Charles was critical of him as an owner, and it hurt his feelings. And now they don't talk anymore for a long time. Is Michael going to be willing to go after people, or is he just going to toss word salads?
Boy, that is the $1 million question. If he goes at people, how is he going to do it? Barkley and Shaq go at each other with humor, but they also get pointed with players. I think I would be fascinated by that. There's two things here. One, he's got to protect various brands, obviously, but two, he's also my age, so he's 62, going to be 63. At some point, you really don't give a crap anymore. Like, my give a crap would have been zero if I were Michael Jordan like 25 years ago with billions in the bank. But, he seems like a protective guy. He seems always smart in how he goes about his business with his brand. So I really don't know. But I'll tell you this, Ricky, as someone that played and coached and then got into the media, if you care, and I did care, man, are you insecure when you get into the media? At least I was. Like, I wanted, hey, was that all right? Hey, did I go too long? Hey, did I say anything? Because it's out of your element. Your element, my element, was always either as a player or a coach for my whole life. And now you're in something different. I don't know that he'll have that. But it will be interesting because Tom Brady did face some backlash, and people that I know that know Brady said he was really sensitive to it. You just, honest to God, Ricky, you just get insecure about it. You just do. And it's a weird feeling, but I don't know. I hope he jabs people. I hope he's humorous. I hope he's critical. I hope he's honest, instead of trying to BS us all with, as you said, word salad.
We need Hall of Fame induction speech, Jordan. If we get that guy, it'll be must-see TV because we know that personality is in there. It's just how much of it is he going to be willing to share with the general public is the question. Dan, what do you think about these playoffs? We got the Knicks. They got the Celtics on the ropes, man. Jason Tatum going down with the dreaded non-contact injury. Knicks up 3-1 after a win in Game 4 at the Garden. It looks like they're going to finish the Celtics off, man.
You know, it's interesting. In basically three of the series between what's going on with Golden State and Steph Curry, the Pacers are a 7.5-point favorite underdog tonight in Cleveland, which tells me that Donovan Mitchell, who didn't play the second half the other night, is going to play. And then you mentioned Jason Tatum. All three of these series are being affected by injuries, none more so. Well, actually, I don't think Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors have a chance. You know, if Curry doesn't play, they got no shot, at least as I've watched that series. And then I don't think Tatum is going to play, and I don't think they have a shot. I don't think the Celtics have a shot. Mitchell looks like he is going to play, so, you know, it may go 6, it may go 7. But it's just unfortunate, Ricky. These playoffs have been awesome. Like, I know at OutKick we're supposed to bitch, whine, and moan about the ratings of the NBA, and maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I like this, Ricky. Last Friday, my son was in town. His birthday was Saturday, turned 31 years old. My wife, buddy, 4 of us went downtown. Beautiful Friday evening. Wore our gold and Pacer colors and had a beer and some nachos sitting outside watching the downtown area explode. That's just fun. And then last night watching all our former Knicks players going nuts. OKC crowd, unbelievable. I love it, Ricky. But I think injury has had a massive, massive part in this, and it's just too bad. You know, there's two things. It's terrible. Like, I thought what happened to Tatum was god-awful. Like, you know, I thought at first he did a knee. I saw him holding his ankle. I figured that's an Achilles. Who knows? We'll find out. And it's terrible for the kid and it's terrible for the organization because that's a whole nother year. Like, that is not hey, we'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks. That's a year-long deal. At most, but, you know, maybe he's athletic, come back. But then on the other side, the Knicks are like, yeah, well, it's the playoffs. Nobody really asks you who'd you beat to get there. They just, hey, we're going to beat whoever is in front of us. But, man, injuries have really, really been involved in this playoffs, and that's too bad.
All right, Dan, let's switch gears. I am not a conspiracy theorist, Dan Dakich.
Yeah.
I am really not. I am usually a guy who feels like, there's a reasonable explanation for just about everything, and I try not to put my tinfoil hat on very often. Having said that, Dan, the Dallas Mavericks last night won the NBA draft lottery, 1.8% chance. They have the number 1 pick. Just what? Months after trading Luka to the Lakers, 50+ to 1 shot. Wouldn't you know, Cooper Flagg is going to be a Dallas Maverick. Tell me that I shouldn't be a conspiracy theorist on this one. It is, after all, the 40th anniversary of Patrick Ewing going to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, they froze that card, right? I mean, 85, the Knicks needed a star. They froze the card, used to reach in, grab the card. That one's cold. Don't take it till the end. All right, I saw this morning, 2008, Derrick Rose going to his hometown Bulls when they had a 1.7% shot. Cavaliers getting the number 1 pick after LeBron left the summer prior. Pelicans getting the number 1 pick after Chris Paul leaves. Cleveland getting the number 1 pick. Gave them assets needed to bring Kevin Love. Pelicans getting the number 1 pick after Anthony Davis demands a trade. And, of course, yesterday, number 1 pick after Luka. Ricky, my tinfoil hat is on. It's strong. It's got things going, electricity going everywhere. Hell yeah, they rigged this stuff. You can't tell me that this is not rigged. I always believe this. I always say this. I got to hear both sides. And there's always a backstory. There's always a backstory, Ricky. Now, the one thing that says, I don't know, is that everybody has big mouths. And to pull up a conspiracy theory like this, A lot of people, I would imagine, have to stay silent. Or is it just the owner of the Mavs, Adam Silver, saying, look, trade Luka, get him to the Lakers, I'll get you Cooper Flag, and then one other guy administering. I don't know, Ricky, but I believe 100% it's a conspiracy theory to get this done. I believe 100% that the NBA, while not rigged, doesn't necessarily rig things. They certainly script certain things, and this is one of them. I don't think there's any doubt, Ricky. I admire your naivete or maybe your experience. I admire your open-mindedness. I admire all of that. And, of course, your glorious hair, beard, etc. But hell yes, this is a conspiracy theory. Hell yes, this is a load of crap.
I'm with you, God damn it. Dan, I'm with you. There's no way. There's no fucking way. And if this really was the hands of fate, Nico Harrison, I want you to pray for me because apparently God listens to your prayers. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Dan, one more thing here. I know you got to run, but did you see this? Chris Berman just got re-upped with the worldwide leader, a contract that is going to keep him at ESPN through 2029, which would give him 50 years of tenure with ESPN. And I don't know, man. Berman is one of those guys who's a little bit of a lightning rod. What do you think of Berman as an announcer?
I liked him a lot. I got tired of him. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know he was still there. I assume he just does a few NFL things, and they're Dick Vitelling it where they're celebrating the announcer. That's a great accomplishment, I suppose. But I'm fine with Berman. I've never met him, but I liked him on the home run derby. I will say that. I liked his nicknames, that kind of spurred a thing. But honest to God, Ricky, if you'd have said to me, Dan, gun to head, Chris Berman is still at ESPN, I'd have said no. No, he retired years ago. So, hey, good for him, man. He's got a beautiful house in Malibu, or not Malibu. He's got a beautiful house in Maui. God bless him, man. Keep those checks coming. We all got to pay our bills, Ricky. Good for him.
Hey, listen, the nicknames back in the 80s were a game changer. I agree with you.
Yeah, they were.
I got a little tired of the shtick through the years, but when I was a teenager, that 6 o'clock SportsCenter was must-see TV for me. It was, him and Greg Gumbel. Then they come back, do it again at 10 or 10:30, whatever it was. I remember Eddie Eat, Drink, and B. Murray. I thought that was the greatest advancement in sportscasting that there had ever been at the time. Dan, thank you as always, my brother. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you. See you guys. Have a great day.
The great Dan Dakich, and you can watch Don't At Me every weekday here on OutKick at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And now let me bring in a man that you can watch here every day on OutKick just shortly after the 11 o'clock Eastern Time hour. I speak, of course, of the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, let's get to the Cooper Flag first. 1.8% chance. They make an inexplicable fucking trade. They make a trade that is so bad, your first reaction and my first reaction were, is this real? Is this real? Is this just some internet prank? And we're going to fall for it. Did not sound like a move that the Dallas Mavericks would make in 100 years. It turns out it was true. Inexplicably bad trade. Maybe the worst trade that I've seen of an in his prime star in any sport, at least that I can think of in the last, 20 years, let's say. And that might not even do it justice. And then 3 short months later, guess who comes in 1.8% chance, get the number 1 pick, and the Dallas Mavericks, you and I and everybody know, are going to be drafting Cooper Flag. Isn't that convenient?
Dude, there is no chance that this was rigged. And there's also no chance that it wasn't rigged. That's where I'm at. This is this is impossible, right? Like, this is impossible that this happened. Especially Dan reeled off like all these other instances of shady stuff going on, right? Like,
there's a little history there. This isn't the first time.
And it's like, come on. Like, there's no way this was legit. But there's that part of you that goes, stop. This was 100% legit. It's just how the ping pong ball came out or whatever. I don't know how they do it now. I didn't watch last night. Do they do ping pongs or do they do cards like they?
I wasn't watching it either,
yeah,
Ron.
Yeah,
I wasn't watching it.
But
I got the news, and
am I making sense when I say? Am I making sense when I say there's no way it's rigged and there's no way that it's not rigged? Like I just don't even know what to say in this situation.
I'll answer that question and say, no, you're not making sense when you say that. Ron, I don't know what to tell you. I really am not a conspiracy theorist. Gun to my head, do I believe that it was rigged? I don't know, dude. It's like a coin flip for me because it's just too fucking convenient. Let's talk about Chris Berman a little bit here. I've had some fun with Chris Berman through the years. I think we've got one of my Chris Berman tweets here that we can throw up. I will say his act got a little tired through the years. And I think anybody who's on TV that much risks some degree of overexposure eventually. But this is one of my favorite Berman tweets. I said, the guy on the right is a time traveler who's desperately trying to warn us about the next 35 years of Berman's career. Now, in the 1980s, Chris Berman was my favorite. He was my favorite, certainly, like, anchor, probably, because I thought he was hilarious and the nicknames were so innovative and different. In 1985, nobody was doing anything like that. It was just like, whoa, wait a minute. This guy just doesn't fucking care. Here's another one for you. History was made in 1991 as George Costanza was hired by ESPN. Hang on. I'm just being told that that's actually Berman in glasses. Back. Got a little tired of that. Dan said he liked him doing the home run derby. I couldn't fucking watch it. But then again, counterpoint, he is the guy who came up with the nickname Odabe Young Again McDowell, which is my personal favorite Chris Berman nickname. A lot of people are partial to Bert B. Home Blyleven as well. I always liked Mike Enough Already. But I have tweeted a few times. I've said, as you can see this one here, your favorite Berman nickname, and people chimed in. I'm sure that probably has over 1,000 responses because if you're a sports fan of a certain age, you remember Chris Berman and all those goddamn nicknames.
Yeah, well, I'm a homer on this one because I was friends with Vince Workman when I was in college, still friends. And Chris.
Was he Vince Workman my way back to you, babe?
Exactly.
I remember that, man. Isn't that crazy? I hadn't thought about that in 30 years, Ron.
Yep.
But when you said it, it was on the hard drive somewhere. In a related story, I can't tell you where my car keys are.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think you'd be like Ricky Corn on the Cob, Ricky Cobb salad? Like, which one? Is there anything else?
Probably Ricky Corn on the Cob would be my guess. I feel like that's what I will say. This when I married the mother of my girls, which was back in 2000, my buddy Pete worked at ESPN. He was a researcher, later became a producer there. I think he was a producer at the time. No, he would have been a researcher at the time. He became a producer later. Anyway, he got me an autographed Berman ball as a wedding present. And Berman signed my name and her name, but with my name, he put Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which is the nickname that he had for Ricky Henderson. So that was proud for a while. But upon the divorce, I tossed that fucker in the garbage.
You lost that
number. So how
number.
about that, Chris Berman?
You lost that number.
Yeah. There was no way to erase my ex-wife's name from the baseball, so the baseball had to go. You know, you can't really keep that one up on your mantle for the next 50 years. All right, Ronnie, it's time for me to ask you the question that perplexes me and sometimes brings me delight and joy. Never know until I ask, but we might as well rip that Band-Aid off. What the fuck, Ron?
Ricky, have you ever heard of a Cuddle Puddle?
Oh my God. A Cuddle Puddle? Is that when you have to change the sheets? Ron?
Well, potentially.
I've never heard. Is that what we're talking about?
Potentially. So
scoot over.
Bedford, England. A woman named Sammy Wood. She, every 2 weeks, she snuggles with a group of strangers for a cuddle puddle.
Oh, dear.
A lot of people think, well, this is just creepy
weird.
dudes. Creepy dudes are going to want to do this, but I guess it's a bunch of people. And, you know, there's a lot of theories out there that, you know, human touch and kind of that closeness, it's sometimes better than therapy. And so that's what she does.
We all need the human touch, Ron. That's what Rick Springsteen said. Rick Springfield.
You know what? I was going to let you have it. I was going to let you have that one.
Rick Springfield. My God.
Drink. Go ahead and drink. Go ahead. So
it's good. I'll let people speculate what's in there.
So if you are interested in becoming you can become a professional cuddler. There's you can get accredited from the Cuddle Professionals International. Now, one of the things that people do want to know about is, does this ever cross the line? And Sammy says that it does cross the line sometimes, because sometimes people get aroused. And she says, you either take a break or you reposition yourself. But Ricky, so this is what's going down in England. Cuddle puddles.
There's no boners in the cuddle puddle. You should get it. You don't get it just ejected for that. They kicked Draymond Green out of games for less than this, Ron. If you like what you saw on today's show, head over to OutKick.com/newsletters and sign up for Ricky Cobb's Rewind. We're going to have great stuff coming to you every 2 weeks via email. It's absolutely free, and you can stay on top of everything that we're doing on the program.